Hello and welcome to this lecture on Adobe Photoshop by Eduonix. In this lecture it's the second run of actions, and we're going to go into how to record actions in this one. So make sure you watch the one before this so you have a general understanding. And just like we were doing in the other one, we have all these snapshots made. This is obviously a continuation. Just go ahead and click on the first snapshot, and that's in your history panel. And that'll take you back to the beginning. Since I drug an item from the web into here onto the panel, and it matters if you drag it onto the title or if you drag it onto the screen, it'll go into the document. If you drag it up here, it'll start a new document, and I started a new document that way, so when I used revert or F12 I couldn't go back to the beginning, but I could since I was creating a lot of history states, a lot of snapshots. Anyway, to record an action, we're going to hit the record button, essentially, and we're going to perform an action. Let's just real quick though keep that open. Let's look at some of the guidelines from Adobe or help.adobe.com regarding actions. You can record most but not all of the commands in the action. You can record operations that you perform with the marquee, move, polygon, lasso. Just look over all these tools that you can do, and you'll also notice as you're recording things popping up, and that means that it was recorded. So some things are surprising and can't be recorded, and some things surprise me that can. If you notice the third paragraph down, that's important. When you record actions that include specifying settings in dialog boxes, the action will reflect the settings at the time of the recording, which is a good thing. If you change a setting in a dialog box or panel while recording an action, the changed value is recorded. It says most dialog boxes retain settings, just some things to keep in mind. But let's go ahead and make an action, and there's a few actions that are just single strokes, single keys. They're already actually recorded, but we're going to record one. And there's single keys and strokes that are really useful in and of themselves. I'm going to delete all these extra commands, star trails and everything. Of course, I could also just hit reset in the options. But I'm going to create, and just clicking off of it, I'm going to create a new folder, because if I was clicking on the folder, it would be a folder inside of that one. It's set one by default. I'm going to go to that and click new, action 1, and so it doesn't matter, first of all, it doesn't matter how long you take, because it doesn't record time. It's not like very old traditional macros where it literally records everything from your mouse from every position. It's much better because it's composed of the actual commands. It's much more refined. So the first thing, there's not a lot of selections I can do that are based on the pixels in the image without a lot of special actions and script editing. But I can do things like select all, I can pretty much any menu command, pretty much. I can of course select all, deselect, copy, paste. It will record brush strokes, but they're a little bit buggy. But I'm just going to continue on with the recording, and you'll see stuff start to pop up under here. So the first thing I'm going to do is drag a new layer, and when it says duplicate layer, layer 0, we can stop the action right here. Now it's a complete action. If we go to duplicate layer, we look what it contains, or let's just recreate it. So duplicate layer 0 actually got recorded. So this is actually duplicating a layer by the name of layer 0. The reason why is because I dragged a specific layer and it wouldn't know to drag that layer. It wouldn't know. The only thing it can go off is based on name, although I really think that they should do it based off of the order from the bottom or from the top. I mean, why would you do it based on name? But if you do go to layer and you want to duplicate it, go up to layer and hit duplicate layer. And I should have done that recording. Up to layer and duplicate layer. And that duplicates the current layer. So you can see the difference when you're recording an action. Obviously, duplicate current layer is a better idea. I'm going to stop the action. I'm going to just drag the other one to the delete. So now I have set selection, which is to all. It's this little specific thing down here tells me. I can just click on that and get the whole thing selected. You can tell over here. And then duplicate current layer. I didn't need a select all, by the way, but you would use that for like masks and stuff. Or more specifically, yes, I believe a mask will just create a new mask on that layer. But it's kind of logical and it makes sense after you start doing it for a while. So after I've recorded a action, which you can do by hitting new action as well. I hit stop and I can give it a new name, obviously by double clicking on it. I can come up here and I have allow tool recording selected, which means it's going to record things I do with my tools. It's going to try as hard as it can, and sometimes it works. But after that, I'm going to want to save my actions. I'll save them into a file where I can pull them back out, add them to the current actions. Saves as an ATN file, which you can download these off the internet. I have a few of them. I get them, I use them for one project, and I kind of forget about them, but they're really handy. You can save it, and then you can load it back up. And then there is something I said I would get around to, which is insert path. If you go to Window and open up your paths, and if I create a new path, and so I'm using the pen tool here, you can just faintly see my path. But you can see a lot clearer up here. And so that's path, and I have it selected now. Now I can use insert path. And since I have an action selected, it will put it at the end of this action. If I had selected one of these, it would put it after them. Like it would put it after set selection or duplicate current layer. Better idea is one that has a lot of them. I can go to insert path, it'll put it right after. But if I select the parent item, the main item, go to insert path or conditional or any of the inserts, it'll put it at the very end. So it's just something to keep in mind. So on this, we know that inserting path is going to do what's called set work path, and there's a lot of stuff here. But it's creating a, and you'll have to try it to see what it's using for origin. Really, I don't get that into using the paths. If you like paths, it's great, but it's the same as a selection essentially, because also you can record convert to selection. But anyway, it basically draws out all these anchor points, and it makes what might as well be a selection But let's look at conditionals. And this I'm only going to touch on a little bit, but these are great because you can make your own. You can make conditionals, and it has all these things: if the layer is visible, if the document is open, and it'll do the next action you have. These can be sub actions. This is obviously the action I just made. So I would have like two actions inside of it. One if it does it if the document's landscape, and one it would do it if the document isn't, which is else. So you do else, and you pick something else, which would, if I had a second action, be like action 2. And then after that, it just proceeds down normally. Close out of this so it's not confusing. I can show you an example. I just look up advanced actions and stuff like that online. We'll probably do one in the third video. It's just a lot of setup to it. But that's what a conditional is. It's pretty easy to understand. If you've done any programming, if you've done anything with conditionals, like if, then statements, then you kind of probably understand what that is. And if not, I should have explained it pretty clearly. Stops are very useful, though. If you have an action that can't be recorded, you put in a stop, and you write a little message to yourself saying, make it pretty. Who knows? And you would know what that means. Obviously, Photoshop doesn't know what that means. So yeah, you allow continue, I guess, is if I'm putting a stop in, I double click on that. Alright, I'm going to control double click on that. This is what it looks like when you get to that point. So I'm going to put some things after it to show you. So if I click continue, so there's just a couple more of these options. Let's look at them. Let's insert menu item. When I go to that, it's probably the only dialog box you can actually click on menu items for obvious reason. It's a good way to check to see if you can insert something too. So I'd hit OK and it would put that right in there. Now there's menu items that are dialog boxes. Save as can actually be recorded. When you play it, it just brings up the dialogue and you have to continue. It's kind of like a stop, but it's more interactive. And you can automate it too. It's important to know there's a lot of good scripts that will save all your layers as files and really speed things up. Scripts are actions, basically. And then aside from that, there's just record again, start recording, some obvious ones. So practice recording actions, and definitely do this every time you use Photoshop. Just unless you're just making a real quick edit or something. If you're going, especially if you're going in to mess around, see what you can record. You find yourself doing something a lot, record it and assign it to a function key, so that you can repeat that recording by just hitting the function key. But that's all for this part of actions. Hope you learned a lot. Review the 2 actions so far. We have a third one coming up that's really complicated. And thanks for watching.